Hi everyone, welcome to this third video. Mixing up the format of these as we go quite a lot, just because I'm still working out what I'm doing here. I had a lot of feedback over the last two videos. It seems that the first video is better. As I said there, it's very candid, very intimate. I'm going to talk about the issues that are facing me as a newbie to the indie dev scene, mainly because that's what I have to offer, my perspective as a newbie, and that's what's potentially interesting about these. My second video was a bit more dry, just talking about what's happened with the game and so on. Interesting, but not really what this video format can play to in terms of strengths. So let's jump straight in. I'm going to talk about motivation. And a big problem that I had over the weekend and into Monday was motivation. I woke up on Saturday, everything's been happening at such a crazy pace here at Stugan. We're 3.5 weeks into the 8 weeks that we're here. The first 3 weeks were just crazy, in a good way. Everyone really excited to be here, super excited to see this beautiful surroundings and the support that we're getting to make our games. We did more on Rosvita in the last 3 weeks than we have done in the last 8 months, and that felt amazing. It was just a constant climb up in terms of emotion and high spirits. Then on Saturday, this little gnawing fear crept into the pit of my stomach, and that grew on Sunday. Started to feel like a bit more of a sort of existential dread. I tried to do some social media stuff, and as anyone who does this kind of social media promotion will tell you, that it's essentially a process of banging your head against a brick wall until you are lucky enough to find a loose brick. But that's rational. That's a rational way of looking at things. These sort of emotions rarely come out of rationality. And I didn't get much of an impact from that social media push. That made me feel a little bit worse. And then on Monday, I felt miserable. I woke up on Monday morning feeling just worthless. Not even feeling, just a knowledge, an absolute conviction that everything about Rosvita was doomed. It was all going to go badly. It was all going to be a miserable failure. And that was all going to be down to me and my shortcomings, my immense shortcomings. Now, I'm no stranger to these feelings. I know everyone has these feelings from time to time. It's part of the human condition. But for me personally, I have always had a serious problem with confidence. Now, anyone who knows me, or even if you're just watching the way I talk on these videos, think Simon, issue of confidence, he's one of the most over-the-top exuberant people I know. When I was at university, I was known as Crazy Ash. But I'm so over the top sometimes. I think it can be quite easy to see how much that is overcompensating. And it is to some extent. As far back as I can remember, I've had a real problem with confidence, self-confidence. I've spent many years utterly convinced of my worthlessness as a human being, as a creative, as a creator, as anything really. It's led to some particularly dark times in my life. Over the last few years, it's been better, much better. I attribute this to a great number of things. One is, maturing. A big one is just the people in my life. My relationship has changed with them a lot. I get a lot more support from those who love me, my friends and family, and also professional help. Over the last year and a half, 2 years, I've actually done something for the first time and sought professional help on this issue. And this has left me in not a completely rectified state, but in a much better state, giving me a much better set of tools to manage these feelings. But that being said, they still really knock you for a loop when they occur. And on Monday morning, it was like being thrown back to darker times in my life. And it was awful, It's like just having this huge void open up inside you, and being all consumed by it, this sort of nihilistic introspection. But it didn't completely consume me as it would have in the past. You know, the way I would have responded to these feelings before was to quite literally just wrap myself up in my duvet and refuse to even participate in the world. Wallow is a good word. Self-pity, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Instead, I had a game to go and make, and Rosvita has steadily become bigger than me. That's a really good thing. You know, while it was all up here, while it was all just a great idea, all ideas are great until you actually go and freaking do them, you know, I had nothing tangible to hold on to, whereas now the game exists. It exists outside of me, and it's not just about me. It is an entity in and of its own right, and so I actually had to some extent, a bit of distance to get up and know that there was just some work to be done. Now, I'm not saying the best way to deal with these problems is just to suck it up. I don't think that's a particularly healthy view to have. But when you've built up the tools to deal with it better, it can help a lot to just have something that you can go and do, and that you can prove to yourself that you can do, and that sort of builds you back up again. But the next thing that happened, which was fantastic, was Joao put together an implementation of our rather unique art style that overcame a huge slew of problems that we had seen coming, and it looked great. It looked so good, and just seeing the image that I had in my mind suddenly on screen working and making the promise of more good things to come later, like just like hit me in the gut in a really good way, and I felt amazing. I felt so much better, and I think that's given me a lot more faith in the project. That's good. That's a really, really good thing. And it helped me out a lot, and I'm feeling much better now. And rather than in the past, when it would be days or months of this kind of immense lowness, it was a blip that I think was far more in keeping with just a natural feeling. Like I say, everyone goes through this from time to time, and it felt really, really good. So, yeah, going forward, I guess the motivation is just to have some faith in the team, to know to understand and remember the triumphs that I've had, the times that I've proven that, you know, I'm not worthless, and to look at the project as something that isn't entirely burdened upon you, but is, you know, an entity in and of its own right. And I think that will help carry me forwards. So, yeah, I promise not all of these videos will be quite so, you know, soul-searching, but thank you for listening. If you want to see more, hit subscribe, follow the blog, or follow us on Twitter, and hopefully I'll see you again in the future. So, thank you very much. Bye-bye.